I woke up this morning thinking about perfectionism and how it hurts the actor. It is not a good thing to, you know, well, it, it's nice that you want to be perfect and you want to do everything right, but perfectionism can take you down a very dark alley and beat the crap out of you if you are not careful. As an actor, we have to be part of being in process, not perfect, right? We're discovering stuff all the time. So today, I want to talk about the dangers of perfectionism versus the power of process. We don't put enough focus on process and how powerful that is. So I want to break down the dangers of perfectionism for actors. The first thing it does is it paralyzes you by analysis, right? You get stuck overthinking of things instead of acting. Marie Forleo, who I adore, has a quote that says, "You don't have to get it perfect, you just have to get it going." The Bible tells us in James 1 8, a double minded man is unstable in all his ways. And when we get into perfectionism, we start to become a little unstable in our thinking because, well, but I got to get this, but I got to get this, but I got to get this. Instead of just being in process, just doing the thing that you said you wanted to do. Another thing that gets you in trouble is the fear of failure. Perfectionism tricks you into believing mistakes are you'll be a loser, you'll be horrible. Well, no, mistakes makes you better. Every time you make a mistake, it gives you an opportunity to do better the next time. We are all learning, we are always learning. It's just part of process. Henry Ford says failure is simply the opportunity to begin again, this time more intelligently. I love that. And in Second Timothy 1 verse 7, it says, "For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind," meaning you just need to go do it. Don't worry about being perfect. That is perfectionism is a lie from the pit of hell. What can I tell you? When you're perfect, you are in another dimension, not on this planet. There's no perfect people. There are only people who are striving, who are of excellence. And being of excellence is different from being perfect. you know Number three, um, a danger of perfectionism for actors is that you're waiting until you're ready to make you do whatever it is you're supposed to do. Well, I'm not ready yet. Well, you know what? When you book a job, you got to be ready. You can't be telling the production team or the production company, "I'm not ready yet for my close up. I have to feel it." No, you got to hit those beats. You got to hit your mark. You got to be on target. It's not about being perfect. It's about making a you want to make a statement. You want to, when you're acting, you want to get people to feel things. So perfect is not in the mix of all of that. Okay, so you don't want to get into that. Cheryl Sandberg says done is better than perfect. Get it done. You don't want to be sloppy, but you also don't want to wait till, well, it's not right. It's like you just do it, just get it out there, just do it. And I am telling you this from experience because I waited a long time to get certain things done. Like, oh, I got to work on this. I got to work on this. And then I started to mount a one person show. And I started to learn about process that, I would write, I wrote the show, I put it up, and then it was about tweaking it, making it better. better, better, better. The first draft was not perfect. It was just a skeleton. But then I did the rewrites. I did 40 rewrites. And then, and during rewrites, I would perform it. I would take it out. I would do it. It is just about you having the courage to be okay with how it looks. That's the thing. It's just being courageous with however way it looks. Because if you're focusing on perfectionism, you get burnout because you're trying to control every detail, and that stuff drains you. It drains your energy, it drains your joy, it sometimes drains your finances because you want to it has to be perfect. No, it's not. Ann Wilson Schaaf says perfectionism is self abuse of the highest order. Ooh, that's scary. It's self abuse of the highest order. We don't want to be abusing ourselves. And it also, when you're trying to be so perfect, you lose your sense of authenticity. You become rigid instead of feeling free and real and vulnerable. You're like, oh, it's got to be like this. No, it doesn't. Great acting is about being fluid, and those mistakes that you make on set or those mistakes you make on stage sometimes are gigantic kisses from God, because you discover stuff. You go, oh my God, that showed up. That was such a miracle. Oh my God, I'm so excited I didn't think of that. So I want you to start to think of not perfectionism, but start embracing process. So let me give you 5 benefits to embracing process. When you are embracing process, there's growth over time. You get stronger by doing, not by waiting. I'm waiting, I'm watching all these things. And I went through this last year. I'm in a few groups that I love, communities that I love, that have to do with entrepreneurship and has to do with a YouTube channel and just being an artist. And so I kept getting people telling me, you got to go live. You got to go live. I was like, I can't go live. Oh my God, what if I make mistakes and I'm not perfect? Well, it took me a year to start doing these lives. And now I just do them. It's like, okay, whatever happens, happens. We're just going to keep doing it. It's just part of the process. So in Zechariah 4:10, it says, do not despise these small beginnings, for the Lord rejoices to see the work begin. How cool is that? God's giving you grace. It's saying, come on, those baby steps. I need you to do those baby steps. Come, do it. Helen Hayes was a incredible actress back in her day, and she says, the expert at anything was once a beginner. So we have to embrace beginning, doing it for the first time, knowing it's not going to be perfect, knowing that for the most part it's going to be messy. It's not going to look good, but we do it anyway. And doing live streams, man, that gets you going. It's like, okay, you got to do it. You got to do it. Someone says, I'm trying to be an actor. I know I can be very good actor because I have very good pauses in my tone of words. Well, you can be a good actor. You just have to start. Just start. Get a monologue. Start doing a monologue. Work on it. Record it. Put it up on social media. Ask people for feedback. Don't stay in that place of I would like to be an actor. I think I could be an actor. That's keeping you imprisoned. Just do it. Get in an acting class. Go and audition for something. Just start your process. Start your process, because number 2, and this flows right into number 2. Confidence comes through experience. Each rep you do builds courage and craft, and it builds courage and trust in your craft. Um, Richard Klein says, confidence is preparation. Everything else is beyond your control. So we do the best we can with what we have, and we do it better and better and better. Every time we do it, it gets better and better and better. If you go see a play um, on previews, it's going to be way different than it is on closing night. And that's because they are working it through all the, from preview night to closing night. They are working it every night. They come on and they do something else. The actors will try something different. They'll work on something else. It is process. It's process. When you're in process, it also allows you the freedom to play, right? It's giving you the freedom to play. It invites you to take risks and just be creative. And creativity, as Henry Matisse says, takes courage. And as actors, we have to develop our courage muscle to do it when we don't feel good, to do it when, it doesn't look right, to just dive in and do it. Sometimes doing it requires you do it when you have had a loss in your life, when you are having heartbreak in your life, when you are not wanting to do stuff because you're not feeling quite right. Professionals have to do it no matter how they feel. It's not about being perfect. They know they have a job to do. They know they have to get on stage. They have to get in front of the camera. I can't tell you how many times when I was doing stand-up, there were many times that I didn't want to go on stage. I wasn't feeling funny at that time, or I had something horrific happen. My father passed the day I was supposed to do a big Hollywood showcase at the Improv, and I had gotten my ticket to go back home to New York that night, and I had to get on that stage and be funny. And I wasn't feeling funny, but I just did the process. And can I tell you that I gave an exquisite show? I was so funny because I just had to do the work. I just had to do it. I couldn't get into, oh my God, my father died. I'm gonna get on stage. I'm gonna start crying. I did not have that luxury to do that. And this is where resilience comes in. When you are doing process, you learn to bounce back quickly because you've practiced failure and recovery. Failing doesn't mean you are a loser. Failure means you have opportunity to try again. There's a quote from Winston Churchill that says, success is stumbling from failure to failure with no loss of enthusiasm. I think that is brilliant. And then in the book of Proverbs, chapter 24:16, it says, for though the righteous man falls 7 times, he rises again. So we are failing, we are falling, we're making mistakes, but we keep going enthusiastically. And that's what happens, is that joy comes in the journey of it. Process helps you savor the wins instead of obsessing over the end result. I want it to be like this. Going back to my one-person show, because I'm getting back into getting ready to stand it up. And what I've learned in doing one-person shows is that it is a beast. The one-person show is a beast because there are no guardrails. You are the only one on stage. You have to deliver the goods. And part of that is just one step at a time, one moment at a time, being in process of it and not going, well, I just wanted to be the best show ever. I want the audience to have the best experience from watching this show. And because of that, I am in process delivering the best I can do. Not the most perfect show, but just the best I can do. How am I exhibiting these characters? How am I giving them life? One thing I love about one person shows is that when you have a lot of characters you as the actor is doing, what happens is every night there's a different character that just shines. They're just taking center stage. And for me, I'm always amazed at the end of the show. It's like, did you see what character so and so did? Oh my goodness. I didn't know I had it in me. But when you're practicing, when you're working out those reps, when you're doing that show every night different things come in, or when you're doing stand up every night, the jokes are popping in a different way. The audience just comes with you. When you are getting in front of camera and you are doing your scenes and you are getting you're on a show and you're working your muscle regularly, everything just flows. It's the journey is joyful. You're enjoying the process of it. So let me give you 5 practical steps to practice process. Number 1, set micro goals. Instead of I must book this role, focus on I'll explore one choice fully today. Today, as I do my self tape. Well, for me, I like 3 things. When I am doing a self tape or when I am auditioning for something, I focus on 3 things I want to hit a home run with. What that does is it centers me. It takes me out of my head. It takes me out of how are they thinking about me? Am I doing this right? So I just focus on 3 things. And usually one of those 3 things is to have fun. Have fun. And then maybe I'll focus on I want to have this character really come to life, or I want to really work on getting something from the person I am doing the reading with. I want them to look at me. I want them to think about me. I want them to get angry at me. There, because that brings the drama. So there's 3 things that I work on. Those are my little micro goals when I'm working on a project or working on an audition. Uh, Robin Schwarma says, small daily improvements are the key to staggering long-term results. And it makes me think of in the Bible, when God was taking the Israelites from the desert, from Egypt into the promised land, every day he gave them fresh food, they call it manna. He gave them fresh manna, and he told them not to store it, so that because we're in process, we're not storing things. As actors, we hit our marks. We know where we're going in the scene physically because the director has told us you're going from the door to the window. We know that, but from the door to the window, what are we as actors bringing to it? And so every time you're doing a show, or every time you're doing a take from the door to the window, what's your intention? What do you want? What are you trying to get? So you're bringing something different, something new. That's process. Number 2, second step is to allow messy rehearsals. Let yourself be raw and flawed and experimental. Be curious. Um, there's an unknown quote that says, in a mess, there is magic. And in mistakes, there is magic. It does happen. It is magical when you make a mistake and all of a sudden something new pops up. Oh my God, there's nothing like that. Ooh, that is just a wonderful feeling as an actor, that you make a mess, but something fabulous happens out of it. The third step I give you is to celebrate your effort, not your outcome. Applaud yourself for showing up, not just, I nailed it. Sometimes we don't nail it, but we showed up. We did it. We made it through, especially if you're not feeling all that great. Sometimes you got to perform sick. You got to perform when you've heard bad news, and you have to deliver the goods. So applaud yourself for showing up, Applaud yourself for walking past the fear and getting to what it is that you want. There's a Chinese proverb that says, the journey is the reward. The journey is the reward. Number 4 step for process is keeping a journal. Write down your discoveries, write down your mistakes, write down your moments of breakthrough. And I would recommend that you check out my Acting Smarter planner to help you to journal all those things in it. It really does make a difference. I'm reminded of Habakkuk 2 and 3 in the Bible, where it says to write the vision, make it plain. And the second part of that is because it will happen. If you write stuff down, it will happen. And when you're journaling what you've discovered, when you're journaling your gratitude, when you're journaling, what mistakes you made, what's your breakthrough, it really does help you a lot. So keep a process journal to help you. I love John Maxwell's quote that says, what gets written gets remembered. And as actors, we want to keep a journal of what we've done, our feelings, so that we can tap into that when it's needed. I may not hit the same note, but if I can remember how it felt like when I got my YouTube 100,000 subscriber plaque, I was thrilled. I write that down because I may need that for a scene. I may need that for a self-tape. How does it feel to be thrilled, and how do I bring that across in the camera? So keeping a process journal is so valuable for you, the actor. And number 5, another practical step to help you in process is surround yourself with support. Work with coaches. Be part of communities that empower you, and peers who value your growth. The Bible says in Proverbs 27:17, it says, as iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. And that's what happens in community. You sharpen each other. Oprah Winfrey says, surround yourself with only people who are going to lift you higher. And that is why part of process is having a community that you can surround yourself with, who keep you focused, who keep you going for your goals, who keep you going for the wins, and enjoying every minute that you are on the journey. So perfectionism keeps you locked in fear. It wastes your time, and it silences your voice. The process is where you discover your power, grow your confidence, and become unstoppable. But you don't have to walk this journey alone. That's why I created Acting Smarter Circle. It's a support system that nurtures you through process. It allows you to have accountability, encouragement, and to create strategies that keep you moving forward in your craft and career. So don't wait to feel perfect. Start where you are, step into the process. I welcome you to join the Acting Smarter Circle today. We're starting it at the end of September, and it's a 3-month group to help you get to your wins and to get it through process. So you can go to actingsmarternow.com and sign up for the wait list. We're starting the program September 22nd. I look forward to working with you. I look forward to seeing you grow and develop through process. So thank you so much for joining me today. If you want more information, you can drop me a DM, and I'll be more than happy to answer any questions that you may have. Until next time, have the most spectacular day.